Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Never Made It Sport Report. I'm your host, Dylan, today. It's going to be another solo podcast. I did a solo baseball one yesterday. Couldn't get none of the boys on. Everyone seems to be busy. Brandon's playing a softball game right now. Nick, didn't hear from the guy. And Patrick, I believe, went to bed early due to work. So I'm going to do a solo cast today. Going to keep it nice and light. Talk about last week's matchups. We actually have some good football now. I'm going to talk about this week's matchups, talk about some of my favorite games, our records, and some news around the league. So sit back and enjoy the show. I'm going to start off with last Thursday's game. Last Thursday, the Cowboys won 20-15. But let me tell you, Vegas had called the game. Spread -5.5. Cowboys win 20-15, and Aubrey missed a field goal. Tell me how this guy hasn't missed from 50 plus. He's 15 for 15. Hasn't missed, and he misses a field goal, and they don't cover. Cowboys were the most bet, -5.5 spread that day. Biggest bet of the day. Everyone was on it. Me personally, I was not. I was on Cowboys money line, but a lot of people were on that. Vegas made the phone call, and Giants covered. I don't know what else to say. That's a bad beat right there. I'm sorry if you had the Cowboys. That's tough. Very tough look there. Moving on to Sunday. 49ers, they went down 0-2 the last two games to the Vikings and the Rams. They pull out a win against the Patriots and acted like they won the damn Super Bowl. Guys, calm down. They're not looking like a great team right now. We need to see CMC come back, but it's not looking like it's going to happen this season. I don't know what's going on in San Francisco, but they might be pretenders. There's contenders and there's pretenders. And the 49ers, they're not looking great right now. I'm scared to take them in my suicide pick this week. I'll cover their matchup later on in this episode. The Broncos, 10-9 over the Jets. How? How? I just want to ask how. I'm happy for the Broncos. They're 2-2. They looked like they were going to the league, going to be similar to the Panthers, and somehow these guys are 2-2. They beat the Jets. The Jets, you guys suck. 10-9. Rodgers had a horrible game. Breece Hall gets stuffed in the end zone twice. If you had Breece Hall anytime touchdown, I'm sorry. That was a horrible game to watch, but I was watching Red Zone, so I didn't have to catch too much of it. But congratulations to my Broncos fans. 10-9. Aaron Rodgers, what is going on in New York? I don't know what's happening over there. It's not looking good. The Jets, I might be out on those guys. The Vikings, 4-0. Oh my gosh, Sam Darnold looks like the NFL MVP right now. Guys throwing touchdown passes, guys making completions. He's running the ball. They are doing so well right now. The Vikings have really good playoff potential. These guys are contenders. Now, the only two 4-0 teams that we have left going into week 5 are the Chiefs and the Vikings. I don't know how the Chiefs are still 4-0. You can be the judge of that. They've had a lot of sideways calls go against the other team at the end and should have lost some of those games. I re-looked at the Bengals pass interference. It was pass interference. I get that one. The Falcons one. Oh my gosh. That should have been called back. They should have lost that game. I don't know how the Chiefs are 4-0. They somehow do some black magic every year. I think this game was sacrificing Rashee Rice's knee for the rest of the season. Guy's out. Mahomes trucked his knee, and Rashee Rice is out. There's his sacrifice. I know he sacrificed his dad last season. That he got another DUI. He sacrificed his brother. There's always a sacrifice on that Chiefs team that keeps them rolling and keeps them going. I don't know what it is. He made a bet with the devil that he's got to sacrifice someone every season. And Rashee Rice, I'm sorry. Fantasy owners of Rashee, the guy's going to tank drastically. I believe that he's out the rest of this season, and they will be pursuing charges for his motor vehicle accident in the spring. So look for that to be a suspension for next season. He might be out for a while. So we'll see him maybe halfway through next season. I don't know. I'll get more information on that as it comes, but For right now, Rashee Rice, gone. Vikings, though. Those guys are good. Packers are a great team. They almost came back on them. The Vikings, I believe, were up 28-0 at half, and the game ended really close. That score ended at 31-29, a 2-point difference in the game. I can't believe Green Bay pulled that off. Jordan Love is a great quarterback. Malik Willis is a great quarterback. I don't care who that team starts. The Packers are still a good team, but the Vikings 4-0. Clap it up for them real quick. That was a great showing. A lot of touchdowns in that game. Aaron Jones screwed me. I needed an anytime touchdown. There were so many opportunities, and the guy couldn't get in. Lost some coin on that. My best bet on Sunday was the Falcons Bears parlay. I took a 2-team parlay and won $80, but let me tell you, I had to sweat. That Falcons game, oh my gosh, against the Saints, 2 division rivals right there, and it came down to the wire. Young Ho Koo, let's clap it up for that guy. He made me my $80. That was a great game. One of my favorites of the day, not only because I was stressed out, losing a little bit of hair and sweating to make the money, but it was a great back and forth game. Got to see great football in that game, unlike the Jets Broncos game. But what a great game that was to watch. I really liked that one. Got some coin back on that game. The Eagles. Let me talk about the Eagles really quickly. Gardner Johnson. That guy is horrible. Through 4 games at cornerback, he's given up 4 big touchdowns, and the Eagles look horrific. That defense is terrible. That offense is not looking good. They need A.J. Brown back. Jalen Hurts does not look like a good quarterback without a good receiver. Saquon Barkley is the only thing saving that franchise right now, and I'm all out on the Eagles. The Commanders are right now leading that division. I could never tell you that the Commanders would have been leading the division at the beginning of the year. I'm pretty sure I had either the Cowboys or the Eagles winning that division, and the Commanders are now leading. Tell me how that's possible. Cowboys don't look great. Eagles don't look great. That division, the Giants don't look great. It's fallen apart. The Jaguars. Tell me how they're still 0-4. They had a close one this weekend against Houston. That score ended 24-20, and at one point, Jacksonville had the lead. I was really hoping they would squeak out a win. This team being 0-4 through 4 weeks, I don't know how it's possible. You should look for hammering their money line this weekend. They are playing the Colts. They should be a free bet. There's no way they go 0-5. Let me tell you right now. I don't think they go 0-5. 0-4 is a stretch, but we'll see. The NFL's weird. It could happen. The Commanders, they looked amazing versus the Cardinals. I believe that score ended 42-14. Right away, back-to-back punches thrown. Commanders score. Cardinals score. It's 7-7. Then we get down to about mid-game, and the Commanders absolutely take off. 42 points, Cardinals. I thought you're better than that. The Commanders look amazing. I saw something this weekend that the Commanders, through about 23 offensive drives, have not punted one time. Jaden Daniels, let's clap it up for that guy. He might be the best quarterback in the league right now besides Sam Darnold. It is looking like the NFC is going to be tough with only a few teams. The Niners, I don't know if they're going to stay competitive. They can't beat the Vikings. I don't know if they're matched up against the Commanders this season, but I would love to see that game. We have some great football being played. The Chiefs, I'll go back to them real quick. 4-0, are you kidding me? A lot of people picked them to three-peat. Obviously, they've already made their devil sacrifice with Rashee Rice's knee. But man, the Chiefs being 4-0 is wild through 4 weeks. Obviously, they had a lot of their teammates help, the guys in the black and white stripes, but 4-0, you got to be kidding me. The Chiefs, though, there was some news today. Rashee Rice's mom stole a package off someone's porch and got caught on video. It's the Kansas City Thieves now. These guys have so many criminal charges against them. Andy Reid's son, DUI. Rashee Rice's mom, thief. The Chiefsaholic guy who went to every Chiefs game, bank robber. Mahomes' dad, 3 DUIs. These guys are committing crimes off the field and on the field. I don't know what they're paying the refs, but someone find out. We need an FBI investigation immediately on that team. The Raiders. The Raiders now, this is an interesting stat, so hear me out. 5-0 against rapists. Ben Roethlisberger went into Oakland when they were still the Oakland Raiders 4 times, went 0-4. Deshaun Watson goes into Vegas 0-1. The Raiders are now 5-0 against rapists. Clap it up for them real quick. They're doing the right thing. I support the Raiders 100%. They're trying to eliminate rapists. Bills, Ravens. Wow. Did I think this was going to be a good game and I was let down? James Cook, anytime touchdown. That was rat piss. I needed James Cook to run in that end zone to be set by Sunday night. I had already made a lot of coin during the day, lost a little bit during the midday games, and then needed a James Cook anytime touchdown, and the Bills could not find the end zone. Tell me how that's possible. They looked like pretenders. 3-1, I bet. The Ravens looked really good. 2-2, they might turn their season around right now. So look for the Ravens. Anytime they're a -3 favorite or an underdog, Lamar Jackson has proved the haters wrong. These guys are going crazy. I like the Ravens still to win the Super Bowl. That's one of my favorite picks. You should lock that in now before the season gets rolling because the Ravens are starting to take off. Derrick Henry looks unreal. They're figuring it out with Justice Hill, being able to pass and run the ball. Lamar Jackson, unreal. If they can find some receiving help or Lamar figures out how to play those guys, that team will win the Super Bowl. Let me tell you right now. Titans versus the Dolphins. That looked like two retards fighting. Monday night, I could not watch that game. Tell me how it was 3-9 at halftime. Only field goals. That was a horrible game. I tried watching it just for a little bit. Couldn't do it. Huntley looked horrible. The Will Levis looked horrible. Then we saw Mason Rudolph come in. What was that? How did that become a Titans win? I don't know. Dolphins, you have all these weapons. You should be able to plug and play anyone at quarterback and win that game. It did not look good. Achane, horrible game. Tyreek Hill, horrible game. Jalen Waddle, did he even play? I don't know if I even saw him on the field. Nobody did anything for that team. I'm sorry. Titans and Dolphins was one of the worst matchups this weekend. I was more happy watching the Broncos beat the Jets than I was the Titans beating on the Dolphins. And to put the cherry on top on that game, Titans, Dolphins, I believe the under was 37. The game was at 34 points, and Dolphins get sacked in the end zone for a safety. Now it's at 36 points. Still going to hit the under with under a minute left. The Titans, Tony Pollard runs the ball in and screws everyone's under. I wasn't on the under, but all over social media, all I saw was bitching about this game going over. 30 seconds left, and the Titans wanted to beat up on the Dolphins more. Tony Pollard runs it in on 4th down and eliminates the under. The game goes over, and everyone's freaking out. That was another bad beat. 2 Vegas calls in the same week. We had the Cowboys cover, Vegas call. The Titans Dolphins under, Vegas call. 2 of the biggest, most bet props of the week. Vegas called. Lions Seahawks. That was a phenomenal game. Let me tell you, that was a back and forth game that I was so interested in watching. I couldn't even flip back to the Dolphins Titans. I'm all out on that game, but Lions Seahawks. I told you 2 weeks in a row the Lions should have hit the over. They went under. This week, last week, I gave you Lions Seahawks over. That was free as air. If you didn't take that, I don't know. You didn't make money. Overall this week, I went 9-7, starting to turn it around. I'm making money now on bets. I'm picking the right people. Nick, 7-8. Tried to go for all the upsets. Was not correct. Brandon gave me a 7-7 picks. He went even, but our bets did a lot better. Myself, I went 2-1. I believe I had the Vikings money line, which hit. The over in the Seattle Detroit game, it hit. Aaron Jones, anytime touchdown, rat piss. He should have ran in. The guy had over 100 something yards rushing and receiving, could not put in a touchdown. So I went 2-1 this week. Pat, he goes 2-2. 49ers money line, hit. Falcons -1.5, hit. Bills money line, rat piss. Brees, anytime touchdown, horrible. The guy gets stuffed twice on the goal line. 2-2. I'll clap it up for Pat there. Didn't go negative. I'm sure he made coin. Nick, his most bet prop every week after week, is Brian Thomas Jr. anytime receiving yards. Take him over 45 receiving yards week after week if you want free money. Nick can't preach this enough. The guy keeps coming on here giving you Brian Thomas receptions, Brian Thomas receiving yards, Brian Thomas anytime touchdown. And what does he do week after week? He cashes. That bet is free. Take that bet this week. I'm telling you right now. Nick on his Brian Thomas props has hit week after week. Nick is doing the best right now as far as the props go. Brandon, he goes 2-1. He also had some great picks. I believe he had Marvin anytime touchdown. He had James Cook anytime touchdown. Rat piss. 1-1 there. And then he had Deontay Johnson Day on Sunday. The guy goes over receptions, over yards. That was a great bet, Brandon. Clap it up for the boys. We went positive this week. A lot of us made coin, not in rat piss anymore. I started off hot last week. Monday, Jamar Chase, first touchdown score, up $300. Rolling into Sunday, lost a little coin on Thursday, got to Sunday, made another $80. I'm rolling. Start following our Instagram. I will post bets there. My baseball wagers yesterday, rat piss. Do not take any of those. I believe every team I gave out did not move on. Go ahead and watch that video if you want to see the takes that I had. Was not great. Let me roll you guys into week 5, and we'll talk about some of my favorite bets and some of my favorite matchups. We have officially our first bye week in the NFL, week 5. This week, tomorrow, we have Tampa Bay, Atlanta. That is going to be a great game. Division matchup right there on Thursday night, primetime football on Prime Video. Listen, Atlanta is 1.5 favorites as of right now. The over-under set at 43.5. I would take the over all day of the week. Both these teams have been putting up points, roughly around 20 each. If we just see one of them put up more than 20 and one put up 20, that over cashes. In this game, though, Atlanta -1.5. They look like a great team, but so do the Bucs. I don't know who to pick in this spot. If I were to tell you right now, I'm taking Atlanta spread. I'm going to go with Atlanta. Baker Mayfield looks good. Kirk looks good. I just think Atlanta has the better defense in this matchup, so look for Atlanta to win the game. Starting for we have an early London game this week. New York Jets versus Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota is only favored by -2.5 points. They are going to win by 14 points. Take Minnesota spread. It is going to be a 6:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time game. East Coast, that'll start at 9:30 for you. But we do have an early game on Sunday. Remember that. If you have to set fantasy lineups, do it Saturday night or wake up early Sunday, because you will be in rat piss if someone's hurt and you can't change your lineup. 6:30 a.m. We're taking the Vikings -2.5, and the over/under set at 40.5. I like the over. Vikings will cash this single-handedly. I don't think the Jets are looking that great. Rodgers goes on a podcast every single week, talks about his perks, his ayahuasca, all these different things, but he's not talking football. I'm all out on Rodgers. That Jets team losing to the Broncos made me lose all faith in them. I already don't like them because they're division rivals, but the Jets, do not take them this week. You will be mad. Carolina, Chicago. That game, I'm going to look for Carolina to win the game. I think Andy Dalton takes over and wins against the Bears. The Bears defense is good, don't get me wrong, but I think that Andy Dalton passes all over them and Carolina takes that game. That's a 10 a.m. game. Chicago's favored by 4 points. I don't know if I'd lay the points or just take Carolina straight up. We do have an interesting matchup coming Sunday. Baltimore, Cincinnati. That game, you already know who to take. It's Baltimore. Cincinnati looks horrible. Baltimore's only favored by 2.5 points right now, so lock that in while you still can. It's in Cincinnati, but Ravens will win that game. We have a toilet bowl matchup, 10 a.m. Sunday. The New England Patriots versus the Miami Dolphins. I can't pick a spot in this game. I'm going to tell you right now, I think the Patriots win it. They're favored by 1 point. After watching Miami on Monday, Patriots will win this game. Cleveland versus Washington. Commanders are winning that game. Washington's favored by 3 points. I would lay up to 7 points on them and get an alternate spread because Washington's taking that game at home. Jacksonville, look for them to get their first win this week. They're playing the Colts. Jacksonville's favored by 3 points. I like Jacksonville. Either take the 3 points or take them straight up, but the 3 points is promising. They were close against Houston, playing the Colts. I think they can get it done. We'll see. I hope they don't go 0-5. That'd be really embarrassing, but I like Jacksonville in this spot. Buffalo versus Houston. Now that game, Buffalo's favored by 1 point. I think Buffalo wins this game. They didn't look great against the Ravens. I don't know what had happened to them or if Ravens just played an unreal game, but Houston didn't look great against Jacksonville last week. I like the Buffalo revenge game to prove Stephon Diggs wrong. Stephon Diggs is now on Houston, and Buffalo's going to go into Houston and shit on them. I hope that the Bills win outright. They should win by more than a point, although that's the spread right now. They should win by at least 7 points. They're going to go in there and prove to Stephon Diggs that he was the crybaby and that he doesn't deserve to be on the Bills. Las Vegas versus Broncos. That'll be an interesting matchup as well. Both teams don't look great. Denver favored by minus 2.5 points. Take that all day. The spread on this game, 35.5 over under. Now, am I going to bet that game? Probably not. But I do like the Broncos to win. I want to see them go 3-2. Vegas, they're not looking great. I don't know if Max Crosby is back or not. If he is, the Broncos might be in trouble. But they did look good against the Jets. They looked good the week before. The Broncos aren't looking bad. Arizona versus San Francisco. San Francisco is favored by a touchdown as of right now. That should hit. I don't think Arizona is going to come into San Francisco and win that game. San Francisco just got their confidence back by winning their midseason Super Bowl against the Patriots. They should smash the Arizona Cardinals. Now, I would stay away from the over or the under. 49.5 is a lot of points in an NFL game. It's a scary over-under. I would stay away completely. Next, we have Green Bay versus the Rams. In Green Bay. In LA at SoFi Stadium. Green Bay is favored by 3 points, and I think that's right. Rams just lost to the Bears. Bears have a good defense. Green Bay, what do they have in common with the Bears? A good defense. But they also have a high-powered offense. Look for Green Bay to come in there, and I think they win by more than 3 points. I'm willing to lay the 3 points on Green Bay. I think Jaden Reed, anytime touchdown, is a lock. I think Jordan Love over passing yards is a lock. And I would stay away from the over-under. That's also a 48.5 point over-under. That's too many points for me to lay. Giants, Seahawks. Seahawks are favored by a touchdown, 6.5 points. The Seahawks should win this game. DK Metcalf is playing unreal right now. I like Kenneth Walker, anytime touchdown. I like Metcalf, anytime touchdown. I like Geno Smith over passing yards. And I'm willing to lay the 6.5 points on Seattle. I would even take Daniel Jones to throw over 1.5 interceptions if you can. If that's available for you, take his over interceptions. I think Seattle shuts down Daniel Jones this week. He looked great last week in primetime, but primetime Daniel Jones is not the same as Sunday afternoon Daniel Jones. So take Seattle in that game. Dallas versus Pittsburgh. This is going to be an interesting game. Pittsburgh is favored by 2.5 points. I don't know why. I don't know how. The Cowboys don't look great right now. Pittsburgh is playing pretty good defense. Justin Fields looked great last week. I will be staying off this game completely. I have a pretty extensive no bet list that I will be reading for you guys. So, my no bet list I had updated on Monday night after I got screwed on anytime touchdown scores. I got screwed on Saturday with the Miami Hurricanes. Oh, I'm sorry, that was Friday night, I believe. All around bad beats. My updated no bet list for you. The Browns, the Cleveland Browns, I will not be betting the rest of the season. Devin Singletary, anytime touchdown, will not be betting him the rest of the season. Will not be betting him receiving yards. I will not be betting him rushing yards, and I will not be betting him anytime touchdown. T. Higgins, that guy has not been playing good football. I will not be betting him the rest of the season. He will not get a receiving yards prop from me. I will not bet him to score a touchdown. T. Higgins is not getting a bet from me. DeAndre Swift, he had a monster game on Sunday. Tell me how he had over 140 yards rushing and receiving, and he couldn't do that in weeks 1 through 3. The guy couldn't even put up more than 50 yards in any of those first 3 games, and week 4 puts up 140 yards. I'm staying off of him. That is very inconsistent. The Bears O-line is horrible. DeAndre Swift is getting a no bet from me for the rest of the season. The Miami Hurricanes going into college football. I took them. They should have won by a lot of points. They almost lost outright. The Miami Hurricanes are a no bet for me. Aaron Jones, the guy rushes and has receiving yards up to 120 yards and does not put it in the end zone against his former team, the Packers. That cost me a lot of coin. Aaron Jones, no bet for at least a month. I'm still in on Aaron Jones. I just won't be betting him for the month of October. James Cook, anytime touchdown. Same thing. I'm out on James Cook for at least a month. I will stay off of him. Didn't lose as much coin as I thought I would, but James Cook, off of him. The Jets, after losing to the Broncos, will never see a bet slip from me ever again. I didn't bet them on Sunday, but I'm glad I didn't because I would have been mad. The Bills, I did have them in a slip on Sunday night, thinking that they were a great team, and boy was I wrong. The Bills looked horrible on Sunday night. I'm not betting the Bills or the Jets, or in that case, the Dolphins. The whole AFC East is a no bet for me. I will not bet on my own team, not bet on the Jets, the Bills, or the Dolphins. All no bets for me. Jalen Hurts, the Eagles look horrible. Until A.J. Brown comes back, and at least a month, I will not be betting on Jalen Hurts. And my last and final no bet, Achane and the Dolphins. Achane screwed my fantasy team on both sides. I have 2 fantasy teams with Achane on it. The guy put up no points. The Dolphins looked horrible. I will not be betting either of those to go forward in the rest of the season. Now, the Cowboys, you already know, if you've been watching, are a no bet for me. They are an anti-bet. I did take them on Thursday to win on the money line, and I had won a little bit of money. Now listen, you got to pick your spots right. If I would have put a lot of money on them and lost again, it would have been a lifetime no bet list. But for right now, that list that I gave you is a season-long no bet list. Some of them just a 1-month no bet list. I'm all out on those teams. Now, some player props to look out for going into Sunday. If you want to get tricky, I'll talk about tomorrow first because we do have the Atlanta Falcons versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I like Kirk Cousins over 1.5 passing touchdowns. I like Drake London anytime rushing or receiving touchdown. I like Chris Godwin to get at least 8.5 targets. And I like Baker Mayfield to go for 33.5 passing attempts. Now, I like the Falcons to win this game just because they have a better defense. So taking Chris Godwin over targets is better than catches, because if they shut down Chris Godwin, at least we can look for 9 targets. Baker Mayfield, 33.5 attempts, not completions, attempts. So I like that tomorrow as far as props go. On another note, player trends for tomorrow. Chris Godwin, 40-plus receiving yards, has hit 4 out of 4 weeks. Baker Mayfield, 1 passing touchdown, has hit 4 out of 4 weeks. Kirk Cousins, over 225 pass yards, one of my favorite bets tomorrow, has hit 4 out of 4 weeks. Bijan Robinson, over 25.5 receiving yards, has hit 4 out of 4 weeks. Chris Godwin, over 50-plus receiving yards. Now, you can take the 40 to be safe, but 50 has hit 4 out of 4 weeks. Be careful with that one. Mike Evans, over 40 receiving yards. Jake London, over 40 receiving yards. Kirk Cousins, over 175 pass yards. Kirk Cousins, over a passing touchdown. Baker Mayfield, over 175 pass yards. And Bucky Irving, over 40 rush yards. I would pair up any 2 of those and nuke it. You're going to make some money tomorrow. Now, going into anytime touchdown scores for Sunday. Right now, our leader for running backs is Kyren Williams, has seen 23 red zone carries on 6 touchdowns. Kyren Williams should put one in the end zone on Sunday. Jordan Mason, 22 red zone carries on 3 touchdowns. Jordan Mason should put one in on Sunday. Saquon Barkley, 18 red zone carries on 5 touchdowns, should put one in Sunday. Alvin Kamara, 17 red zone carries on 6 touchdowns. James Conner, 15 red zone carries on 3 touchdowns. Jonathan Taylor, 15 red zone carries, 4 touchdowns. Jahmyr Gibbs, 14. Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery are actually both on a bye week this week. Zach Moss for the Bengals, 12 red zone carries, 3 touchdowns. And Aaron Jones, 12 red zone carries, 2 touchdowns. So look for any of those guys on Sunday. Put in anytime touchdown scorer bet. Might make you some coin. Wide receivers, Deontay Johnson, 9 red zone targets, 2 touchdowns. Cortland Sutton, 8 red zone targets, 1 touchdown. Amon-Ra on a bye week this week. Wendell Robinson, 7 red zone targets, 1 touchdown. Nico Collins, leading the receivers right now in receiving yards, has 7 red zone targets, 2 touchdowns. Malik Neighbors, if he plays, he did get a concussion on Thursday, so look for that in fantasy. Make sure your lineup's updated. 6 red zone targets on 3 touchdowns. Drake London, 6 red zone targets, 2 touchdowns for tomorrow. DJ Moore, 6 red zone targets, 1 touchdown. George Pickens, 6 red zone targets, 0 touchdowns. And Justin Jefferson, 5 red zone targets, 4 touchdowns. So my favorite bets right there, Kyren Williams, touchdown. Justin Jefferson, touchdown. Lock that in right now. Free coin. Now, I pretty much covered everything I could on this solo podcast. I don't have any more for you guys. Try to cover as many bets as I could. Listen to it back if you need some more references. But tomorrow and this weekend, we should make a lot of money. Follow the Instagram at NMI Sport Report. Follow me on Twitter at Decoded3. And look out for my bet slips. I will be posting them on both Twitter and Instagram. If you guys want to see them, sometimes I don't talk about the bets on here, and I will post some slips, especially if I'm down, maybe chase some losses, post the slips. So look for that. Now, I thank you guys for watching today. Hopefully we got some more of the boys on next week. We should have hockey dropping either Sunday or Monday. We will have a baseball podcast after tomorrow's game. The Mets lost to the Brewers earlier, so that series is tied 1-1. The Royals move on. They swept the Orioles wild card, and the Tigers swept the Astros this morning in the wild card. The Padres just swept the Braves, so we're looking for Game 3 tomorrow with the Mets versus the Brewers. After that, we'll figure out when the baseball podcast will happen. I'm looking at maybe either Friday, Saturday. I don't know when the second round starts, but look for that podcast. I had a baseball one drop yesterday. If you want to hear some of my takes, I have the Guardians winning the World Series this year. And Hockey Sunday or Monday, and then another football episode, hopefully with more of the boys, come Tuesday or Wednesday next week. So be on the lookout. Kind of a short episode today, just mainly talking about bets, some of my thoughts on the games, and you guys have a good night.